ASMR vinyl tour. Today I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite Artpop vinyls in my collection. Starting off with the queen of Artpop herself, we have Vespertine by Bjork. This is my absolute favorite record by Bjork. I think it's her absolute best. And I love the swan motif on the front cover. I think that this album is truly so romantic and so beautiful. And if I remember correctly, Vespertine is a word in the Icelandic language that essentially means coming home to someone that you love. This is what the inside of the record looks like. It is a double LP, so you do have to work a little bit harder whenever you listen to it, and remember to turn the discs. And I love the inserts. They're so beautiful. If you've never listened to Bjork, then I guess you've never listened to Artpop. In my opinion, she is the mother of Artpop. In my personal opinion, I do prefer all of Bjork's early albums up to Medulla. I do also love Homogenic, though that album is just far too heartbreaking for me to really enjoy. Up next, as just a fun bonus, I do have a test pressing of Bjork's Homogenic. This was Bjork's junior album, her third one, and many people consider this to be her absolute best, but personally I disagree. I will always be a Vespertine fan. Say this is one of the coolest Christmas gifts that I've ever received in my life. I think it's such a unique gift, and as far as I know, it is quite difficult to find test pressings from the 90s. I could be wrong, but who knows? Next, I do have one of my favorite Artpop records of all time, and that is Bang by Polachek. I've said it many times, but I think that Polachek is one of, if not the odd genre of music Caroline makes, but if I had to describe it, it would be art pop made by a girl who listened to a lot of Imogen Heap, Frou Frou, and Bjork when she was in high school. I will say, the next record that I have up just shortly tops this one, and I might as well bring it out right now. And that is Caroline Polachek's Desire I Want to Turn Into You. For anyone unfamiliar, you might recognize Caroline from her performance in Chairlift. Chairlift was one of those early Tumblr indie bands, and I don't want to say Tumblr to discredit them. I think they helped define kind of the genre, and they were truly so talented, but I will say Caroline's solo work is far better than anything she released under Chairlift. Sorry, it's just my opinion. I do think that the back of this record is really cool. I love the drawing of all of the little ants circling everywhere. When she was releasing all of the music videos for this album, ants were featured a lot as a motif, and I like it. Caroline, in interviews when she was releasing this record, she described it as an album that is best listened to while in transit. So she has all of these illustrations of what looks like subway lines on the insert, and I think that's really awesome, a very cool motif, and it absolutely gives you this sense of movement and motion and, transition. Plus, look at that beautiful molten gold record. It's so awesome. On this record, there are a lot of motifs of different elements and lava, volcanoes, weather, just things like that. So I think that the molten gold effect is a really just perfect, absolutely perfect touch to this record. I did forget to show the back of the Bang album. I think it's such a beautiful track list, and I love all of these Art Nouveau elements, these little ornaments all around. I think it's so beautiful. just like Caroline Polachek, I think that Elizabeth Fraser is maybe the second best vocalist of all time. She is such a talented woman, absolutely. And something very cool that I don't think a lot of people know is on the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Most people associate that with Enya or Emiliana Torrini, but Elizabeth Fraser from the Cocteau Twins was on the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, and most people do not know that. I just think it was cool, and I wanted to mention it. And this is what the insert looks like. These illustrations are just a perfect representation of how this album feels. Another cool fact about the Cocteau Twins is on their earlier records, Elizabeth Fraser's lyrics were absolutely beautiful but very heartbreaking, and once it came around to the time that they were recording Heaven or Las Vegas, she had kind of run out of lyrical steam, if you will, and so she and her bandmates, instead of trying to write their own lyrics to fit the melody, they instead would flip through a dictionary and just add random words that happened to fit the syllables of the rhythm. So that's why when you see memes about the Cocteau Twins where they say, "Oh, I have no idea what she's saying, but I agree," that's why. I think that Elizabeth Fraser's work on this record, it's truly proof that sometimes lyrics really don't mean anything. You can understand exactly what they're trying to convey through the music itself, through the vocals itself, not even the words matter. That is Heaven or Las Vegas by the Cocteau Twins. Up next, I think I have the most controversial artist on this list, and that is Grimes. I'm sorry, but they can never make me hate you, Grimes. This has to be one of my favorite album covers of all time. I absolutely love the illustration here, and I think it's really cool that up here in Russian she says "Я люблю," which means I love. I'm not sure what she has written in Japanese on the side, but maybe she's talking about something she loves. I don't know. I don't think anyone can guess whatever Grimes is thinking. And I'm almost positive that this little CGI lizard man is supposed to be a bust of Lenin, but I'm not sure. this album for 2 weeks in a row, and I think that her roommate had to slide her food underneath the door. It's absolutely not the healthiest way to produce an album, but clearly it has good results. And on top of that, I do have another Grimes vinyl in this collection that I wanted to show. And that is Miss Anthropocene. I absolutely love this original album cover that she made. I think it is so much cooler than the updated album cover. It kind of shows you a very cool, futuristic, Unreal Illustrator workstation, and I just think it's so much cooler than the AI image of a little elf with a sword, whatever. And then on the back of the vinyl, you get this really cool CG image of Grimes' hands playing on the little workstation. I think it's really cool. It would be really fun to do an ASMR video just going over Grimes lore. Maybe I'll do that soon. And that is Visions and Miss Anthropocene by Grimes. I do wish that I had Art Angels on this list, but when I had the chance to purchase it in a store, I decided against it because it didn't have Reality on it. The Reality demo is my absolute favorite Grimes song, but even the studio version on the album is so good. I don't know why she didn't release it on the vinyl. No matter what you think of her, you can't deny that she is an incredible musician and one of the best modern art pop acts. Up next on the list, we have Rosalia's Mal Querer. Funny enough, this was actually my first ever vinyl record. I did have the turntable, but I didn't have any records and I didn't have the money to purchase any. So my sweet husband, who was at that point my boyfriend, he got this record for me because I was absolutely obsessed with it. This is the inside of the record. It has this beautiful heavenly dove. ASMR videos actually has pearls for hair as an ASMR. It's such a cool video, and this makes me think of it. This one is definitely my favorite illustration for the record. I think it's so beautiful, so heartbreaking, and I love all the elements of it. It really is an illustration of just a lover scorned. And again with the beautiful white fur coat. I love this one too. This image to me is just so Spanish. Such a perfect record. Last but not least, I do have another Rosalia album. And that is Motomami. I was lucky enough to see her live on tour for this album, and it was absolutely the best show I have ever been to in my life. If you ever get the chance to see Rosalia live, you should absolutely take it. Disregard the price of the tickets. I don't know how expensive they'll be after inflation is said and done, but just do it. It is the show of a lifetime. She is such an artist, and she sings everything live. Just saying. Look how cool that is. She's such a unique and natural beauty. And the booklet, of course. The only criticism I have of Rosalia is she needs to get this tattoo removed. It looks terrible. But do you see what